I was stirring sugar into my morning coffee when my 7-year-old daughter grabbed my wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong for such small hands. "Daddy, please don't drink that." I looked down at her. Emma's face was pale, her eyes wide with something I'd never seen before. Pure terror. "Why not, sweetheart?" "Because Mommy put something in it." I almost laughed, almost dismissed it as childhood imagination. But Emma was shaking, actually trembling, and there was something in her voice that stopped me cold. "Please believe me, Daddy. I saw her." Those words changed everything. Before we get to what my daughter witnessed that made her beg me not to drink my coffee, tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there? I want to know who's listening to the moment that saved my life. Let me take you back to that Thursday morning in our house in suburban Chicago, Naperville, to be exact. A quiet neighborhood with good schools and friendly neighbors. The kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. I'm Richard, 62 years old, retired cardiologist. I'd spent 35 years saving other people's hearts, without realizing someone was slowly destroying mine. My wife Vanessa and I had been married for 23 years. We met when she was a pharmaceutical sales rep visiting my hospital. Beautiful, charming, intelligent. She swept me off my feet. Looking back now, I realize I never questioned why a woman 20 years younger would fall for a workaholic doctor with graying hair. I was too flattered to ask. Emma came late in our marriage. A miracle baby when Vanessa was 41. I was 55. We'd tried for years, spent a fortune on treatments. When Emma finally arrived, I thought our family was complete, but something shifted after Emma was born. Vanessa became distant, cold. She started spending more time at her gym, coming home late, always on her phone. I told myself it was postpartum adjustment. Then I told myself it was just marriage evolving. I made excuses for 15 years of growing apart. That Thursday morning, I just poured my usual coffee. Black, 2 sugars. Vanessa had already left for her Pilates class, or so she said. Emma was supposed to be upstairs getting ready for school. "Daddy, please don't drink that." I set the mug down slowly. "Tell me exactly what you saw, sweetheart." Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. "Last night, I couldn't sleep. I came downstairs for water. Mommy was in the kitchen. She didn't see me. She was putting drops from a little bottle into the sugar bowl, the one you use every morning." My throat tightened. "What kind of bottle?" "Brown. Small. She hid it in her purse, after. Maybe it was vitamins, honey. Maybe Mommy was." Emma shook her head violently. She was talking on the phone. I heard her say, "It's working. He's getting weaker every day." Then she laughed and said soon. The room tilted. For the past 3 months, I'd been experiencing unexplained symptoms. Fatigue, nausea, muscle weakness, tremors in my hands. I'd seen my colleagues at the hospital run every test. Nothing conclusive. They suggested stress, early onset Parkinson's, anxiety. But I was a cardiologist for 35 years. I knew my own body. Something was wrong, something external. "Daddy, are you mad at me?" I knelt down and pulled her close. "No, baby. You did the right thing. You're very brave." I looked at the coffee mug, at the sugar bowl. Then I made a decision that would unravel 23 years of lies. "I'm going to ask you to do something very important," I said quietly. "Can you go upstairs, get dressed, and pack your school backpack with some extra clothes? Don't tell Mommy anything. Can you do that for me?" Emma nodded solemnly. "Is Mommy a bad person?" The question broke my heart. "I don't know yet, sweetheart, but we're going to find out." I sent Emma upstairs. Then I grabbed a small container from the kitchen and carefully transferred some sugar from the bowl. Evidence. If my daughter was right, if my wife was poisoning me, I needed proof. I thought about calling the police immediately. But I was a respected physician. My wife was charming and beloved in our community. Without evidence, who would believe that Vanessa Carter was slowly killing her husband? I wouldn't have believed it myself if not for the terror in my daughter's eyes. I called my old friend Marcus, a toxicologist at Rush University Medical Center. We'd known each other for 40 years. "Marcus, I need a favor. Unofficial. Can you run a panel on something for me?" "What kind of panel? Heavy metals? Organic toxins? anything that could cause progressive weakness and tremors. He paused. Richard, what's going on? I'll explain later, but I need this today. And I need you to keep it quiet. Bring it in. I'll make time. I sealed the sugar sample. Then I went to the bathroom and drew my own blood. 2 vials. If something was in that sugar, it would be in my bloodstream too. I'd been drinking that coffee every morning for months. Before leaving, I checked Vanessa's purse. She'd left it in the bedroom. Careless or confident she'd never be caught? I found the brown bottle Emma described. Small, unmarked, nearly empty. I photographed it, then photographed the sugar bowl, then put everything back exactly as I'd found it. When Vanessa returned from the gym, I was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee mug in front of me, empty. I dumped it in the sink, but she didn't need to know that. Morning, honey. She kissed my forehead. How are you feeling? Tired, I said, same as always. Her smile was warm and sympathetic, perfectly performed. Poor baby. Maybe you should see another specialist. Maybe I should. She poured herself water and checked her phone. I'm meeting Claire for lunch, then running some errands. Will you be okay with Emma after school? I'll manage. She left without a backward glance. The woman I'd shared a bed with for 23 years. The mother of my child. Walking out the door like she hadn't just tried to kill me with my morning coffee. Marcus called at 2:30. His voice was grave. Richard, where did you get this sample? Just tell me what you found. Thallium, he said. Classic poisoning agent. Tasteless, odorless. Causes progressive neurological symptoms. Hair loss, fatigue, muscle weakness. Exactly what you've been experiencing. My hand gripped the phone. And my blood? I ran it on the machine myself. Your thallium levels are 4 times the acceptable limit. Richard, someone has been poisoning you. For months, based on the accumulation. The room spun. I'd suspected, but hearing it confirmed was something else entirely. How long do I have? If you stop ingesting it now, you should recover. Your levels aren't lethal yet. Another few weeks, though. He didn't need to finish. I understood. Another few weeks and I'd be dead. My wife was killing me slowly, carefully, in a way that would look like natural illness. A brilliant plan, really. Doctor dies from mysterious neurological condition. Tragic. No one suspects the grieving widow. I need documentation, I said. Official lab reports. Can you do that? I'll have them ready tonight. Richard, you need to call the police. Not yet. I need to know why, and I need to catch her in the act. That afternoon, I picked up Emma from school. We drove to a coffee shop 2 towns over, somewhere Vanessa would never look. I bought Emma hot chocolate and myself water. Nothing else. Nothing I hadn't seen prepared. Sweetheart, I said carefully, I need to ask you some more questions about Mommy. Is that okay? Emma nodded. Small hands wrapped around her mug. Have you heard Mommy talking on the phone about anything else? Anything that seems strange? She thought for a moment. Sometimes she talks to someone named Derek. She calls him when you're at the doctor. Derek. Not a name I recognized. What do they talk about? I don't know all of it, but once I heard her say, soon we'll have everything. And she laughed really happy. My daughter had been watching, listening, understanding more than any 7-year-old should have to understand. She'd been carrying this alone, trying to make sense of a mother who wasn't what she seemed. You're being so brave, I told her. But I need you to keep pretending everything is normal for a little while longer. Can you do that? Her eyes were too old for her face. Is Mommy trying to hurt you, Daddy? I couldn't lie to her. I think so, yes. Are you going to be okay? I'm going to be fine now. Because you warned me. She reached across the table and held my hand. I won't let her hurt you, Daddy. That night, I began my investigation. While Vanessa slept, I went through her laptop. She wasn't tech-savvy enough to hide her tracks. I found emails to someone named Derek Morrison, hundreds of them, spanning 2 years. The picture emerged slowly, painfully. Derek was a financial advisor she'd met at her gym. Their affair had started 18 months ago. But it wasn't just about love. It was about money. My money. I'd built a substantial estate over 35 years of practice. Our house was worth $1.2 million. I had investment accounts, retirement funds, Life insurance, totaling $3 million. Vanessa was the sole beneficiary. In the event of my death, she would inherit everything. The emails were explicit. Derek had gambling debts. Bad ones. Vanessa wanted out of our marriage, but couldn't afford to divorce me. She'd signed a prenup that limited her to a modest settlement. But if I died of natural causes, she'd get it all. They'd researched poisons together. Thallium was Derek's suggestion, the perfect murder weapon. Takes weeks to work. Symptoms mimic other diseases. Hard to detect unless you know what to look for. One email from 3 months ago made me sick. Started adding it to his sugar today. He drinks 2 cups every morning. By Christmas, you'll have a dead husband and $3 million. Then we disappear. By Christmas. That was 8 weeks away. She'd been poisoning me since September. Every cup of coffee, every morning, smiling as she watched me weaken. I photographed every email, downloaded the entire correspondence, saved it to a flash drive. Then I put the laptop back exactly where I'd found it. I had evidence. Now, I needed a plan. The next morning, I called Detective Carol Reyes at the Naperville Police Department. She was the only officer I knew personally. I'd testified as an expert witness in a case she'd worked 5 years ago. "Dr. Carter," she said warmly, "it's been a while. What can I do for you?" "I need to meet with you. Privately. It's about an attempted murder." She went quiet. "Whose?" "Mine." We met at a diner outside town. I brought everything. The lab reports from Marcus. Photographs of the emails. The sugar sample results. My blood work showing elevated thallium. Detective Reyes studied the evidence for 20 minutes without speaking. When she looked up, her face was professionally neutral, but her eyes were angry. "Your wife has been poisoning you for 3 months," she said. "Conspiring with her lover. Planning to inherit your estate." "Yes, and your 7-year-old daughter witnessed her adding poison to your sugar. She warned me. Saved my life." Reyes closed the folder. "Dr. Carter, this is enough for an arrest. I can have Vanessa in custody today." I shook my head. "I want more. I want her confession. Recorded. Undeniable. I want her and Derek both. And I want them to know exactly how it fell apart." Reyes studied me. "That's dangerous. I've been dying for 3 months without knowing it. Danger doesn't scare me anymore." She considered, then nodded slowly. "All right. Here's what we're going to do." The plan took 2 days to arrange. We would stage a medical emergency. I would be rushed to the hospital, seemingly unresponsive. Word would spread that I'd collapsed and was in critical condition. Vanessa would come to the hospital, expecting to find a dying husband. Instead, she'd find the truth. Emma stayed with my sister in Wisconsin. I told Vanessa I was sending her for a special school program. Vanessa barely noticed. She was too busy planning her future. On Saturday morning, right on schedule, I collapsed in the kitchen. It wasn't hard to fake. I'd been genuinely weak for months. The housekeeper found me and called 911. Vanessa was at the gym, of course. They took me to Rush University Medical Center, where Marcus and his team were waiting. My room was wired for audio and video. Detective Reyes had officers stationed as nurses and orderlies. Vanessa arrived at 2 o'clock. She walked into my room wearing concern like a mask. Black dress, minimal makeup, the worried wife. "Richard." "Oh God, Richard." I lay still, eyes closed, monitoring attached to my finger, IV in my arm. "What happened?" she asked the nurse, who was actually an undercover officer. "We're still running tests, ma'am. The doctor will be in shortly." Vanessa sat by my bed, took my hand, waited until the nurse left. Then her face changed. The mask dropped. She pulled out her phone. "Derek, it's happening. He collapsed this morning. They're saying it might be today." A pause. I could hear Derek's voice faintly through the phone, but not his words. "No, I'm at the hospital. I have to stay. It would look strange if I left." Another pause. I know. But we need to be careful. Few more hours, baby. Then we're free." She hung up, sat there for a moment, then she leaned close to my ear. "I hope you can hear me, Richard. I've waited so long for this. You were supposed to die quietly in your sleep. Old man with a mysterious illness. Such a tragedy." Her voice was soft, almost tender. But this works too. Hospital death, natural causes. Derek's already booking our flights. Costa Rica. New names, new life. She laughed quietly. You made it so easy. Every morning, drinking your poison like a good little patient. You never suspected. Never even asked why I made your coffee. I opened my eyes. I did ask, I said. And my daughter answered. Vanessa jerked back. Her face went white. Richard? Surprise, I said quietly. Not dead yet, but the thallium. You should be. 3 months of thallium. But I stopped drinking it a week ago, right after Emma told me what you'd been doing. Her mouth opened and closed. Emma? She saw you putting drops in the sugar. Heard you on the phone. She's 7 years old, Vanessa. She understood what you were doing before I did. Vanessa stood up, backing toward the door. You can't prove anything. Can I? I sat up, pulling off the monitoring equipment. I have lab reports showing thallium in my blood. I have the sugar sample analyzed. I have 3 months of emails between you and Derek planning my murder. Her face crumpled. Richard, please. I can explain. Explain what? That you've been poisoning me since September? That Derek has gambling debts and you needed my insurance money? That you were flying to Costa Rica next week? I didn't. It wasn't my idea. Derek pressured me. The emails say otherwise. The door opened. Detective Reyes walked in with 2 uniformed officers. Vanessa Carter, you're under arrest for attempted murder. You have the right to remain silent. Vanessa's carefully constructed world shattered. She tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The officers cuffed her hands behind her back. Richard, please. She was crying now. Real tears or performance, I couldn't tell anymore. I'm your wife. We have a daughter together. You tried to kill me in front of our daughter, I said. And you were going to take everything and leave her with what? A dead father and a mother who vanished? I wasn't going to abandon Emma. I was going to come back for her. After the insurance paid out, you mean? Reyes stepped forward. Ma'am, Derek Morrison is already in custody. He's cooperating with our investigation. He says the thallium was your idea. No, that's not true. He researched it. He found the supplier. So you admit you knew about the poison. Vanessa realized her mistake too late. Her lawyer will have fun with that, Reyes said. As they led Vanessa out, she looked back at me one final time. I expected rage, hatred. Instead, I saw exhaustion. She was tired of pretending, tired of the performance. I never loved you, she said. Not once in 23 years. You were a paycheck with a ring. I know, I said. I just didn't want to see it. They took her away. I sat alone in that hospital room, listening to the silence. My wife of 23 years had tried to kill me, had planned it meticulously, had smiled at me every morning as I drank the poison she'd prepared. And I might never have known if not for a 7-year-old girl who loved her father more than she feared her mother. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The prosecution's case was airtight. Detective Reyes presented the lab evidence. Marcus testified about thallium poisoning symptoms and accumulation rates. The IT specialist recovered the emails even after Derek tried to delete them. Derek Morrison folded first, pled guilty to conspiracy to commit murder in exchange for a reduced sentence. 20 years. He testified against Vanessa, described her as the mastermind. Vanessa's lawyer tried everything. Coercion, emotional abuse, temporary insanity. Nothing stuck. The emails showed careful planning. The thallium purchases were traced to her credit card. The timeline was documented down to the day. I testified on the final day, described my symptoms, my daughter's warning, the investigation, the hospital confrontation. The defense attorney tried to paint me as paranoid, suggested I'd manipulated evidence. But the jury had seen too much. They knew what Vanessa was. Guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, conspiracy, assault with a deadly poison. The judge gave her 35 years. She'll be 81 when she's eligible for parole. Emma never had to testify. I made sure of that. The evidence was strong enough without her. She'd already been through too much. After the verdict, I filed for divorce, full custody of Emma. The judge granted it immediately. Attempted murder of a spouse tends to simplify custody arrangements. I sold the Naperville house. Too many memories. Too much poison soaked into the walls. Bought a smaller place in Evanston, near the lake. One story, just 2 bedrooms. Enough for Emma and me. My health recovered slowly. The thallium worked its way out of my system over 6 months. The tremors stopped. The fatigue lifted. I could walk again without exhaustion. But some damage was permanent, not physical. The ability to trust. The belief that people mean what they say. 23 years of marriage, and I never knew the woman beside me. Every memory was suspect now. Our wedding day, Emma's birth, every anniversary, every vacation. Was any of it real? Or was she calculating the whole time, waiting for the right moment to cash out? Those questions keep me awake some nights. I don't think they'll ever have answers. Emma started 2nd grade at a new school. Her teachers knew a simplified version of what happened. They watch for signs. We do therapy twice a week, both of us. Dr. Patterson specializes in children of violent parents. She says Emma shows resilience, but also hypervigilance, trust issues, fear of abandonment. Your daughter saved your life, Dr. Patterson told me once. But she also lost her mother in the worst possible way. She learned at 7 that the person who should protect her was capable of killing the person she loves most. How do we fix that? We don't fix it. We work with it. We build new trust, one day at a time. One day at a time. That's become my motto. Emma asks about her mother sometimes. Not often. Usually late at night, when she can't sleep. Daddy, why did Mommy want to hurt you? I never have good answers. Some people get lost inside themselves, I tell her. They make terrible choices. It wasn't your fault or mine. It was hers. She always nods. But I see the question in her eyes. The same one I ask myself. How do you reconcile that the person who gave birth to you, who was supposed to love you, calculated your father's death as acceptable collateral damage? Last month, Emma came home from school and found me in the kitchen making dinner. She stopped in the doorway, watching. What's wrong, sweetheart? Nothing. Just checking. Checking what? That you're okay. That you're still here. I knelt down and hugged her tight. I'm here, baby. I'm not going anywhere. She held on for a long time. Promise? I promise. 18 months have passed since that Thursday morning when Emma grabbed my wrist. We've built a new life. Quieter, smaller, but real. I volunteer at a free clinic twice a week. Use my cardiology skills to help people who can't afford care. It gives me purpose beyond survival. Emma plays soccer now, has 2 close friends, laughs more than she used to. The nightmares come less often, once a month instead of every night. We have dinner together every evening. I cook. She tells me about school. We talk about everything except her mother, unless she brings it up first. I haven't dated. Can't imagine it. How do you trust again after the person who promised to love you spent 3 months trying to kill you? Dr. Patterson says it's too soon. That healing takes years, not months. I'm not in a hurry. Last week, I received a letter from Vanessa. Prison-issued envelope, handwritten pages. I didn't read past the first paragraph. Richard, I know you probably won't believe me, but I'm sorry for everything. I was lost. Derek manipulated me. I never meant for things to go so far. I burned the letter in the kitchen sink. Emma watched me do it. What was that? A letter from someone who doesn't exist anymore. She nodded like she understood. Maybe she did. I've learned things from this experience that I wish I'd known decades ago. Red flags I ignored. Distances I explained away. The slow erosion of connection that I blamed on stress or age or the natural evolution of marriage. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. If your partner seems distant, if the intimacy fades, if they start living a separate life within your shared home, pay attention. And listen to your children. They see more than we think. They sense things we've learned to rationalize away. Emma watched her mother for months before she worked up the courage to warn me. She'd been trying to understand something that made no sense. Adults make excuses. Children just see what's there. I almost died because I trusted the wrong person. I survived because I finally trusted the right one, my 7-year-old daughter who loved me enough to speak up. Here's the truth I've come to accept. Family isn't about legal documents or shared DNA. It's about who shows up, who protects you, who tells you the truth even when it's terrifying. Vanessa was my wife for 23 years. But Emma is my family. She's the one who saved me. She's the one who matters. Sometimes, on Sunday mornings, Emma and I sit on our small porch and watch the sun rise over Lake Michigan. We drink hot chocolate, hers with extra marshmallows, mine with nothing I haven't seen prepared. I still can't drink coffee. The smell triggers memories. Maybe that will fade. Maybe it won't. I've accepted the scars. "Daddy," Emma said last Sunday, eyes fixed on the water. "I'm glad you believed me." My throat tightened. "Me too, sweetheart. More than you'll ever know." She leaned against my shoulder. "I'll always tell you the truth, Daddy. I know you will, and I'll always believe you." She smiled, small but real, and we sat there watching the sunrise, two people rebuilding their lives from the ashes of betrayal. My wife tried to kill me with my morning coffee. My daughter saved my life with 4 words. Mommy put something in it. That's the story. That's the truth. And every day Emma wakes up safe and loved, we win. If this story resonated with you, I need you to hear something. The warning signs were there for years. I ignored them. I made excuses. I told myself every marriage had rough patches. Don't be like me. Don't spend decades rationalizing distance. Don't wait until you're dying to realize something is wrong. Pay attention to your partner. Pay attention to your children. And pay attention to yourself. That feeling in your gut, that quiet voice saying something isn't right. Trust it. It might save your life. I thought I was too smart to be fooled. A cardiologist with 35 years of experience reading people. I was wrong. The heart I couldn't read was my own. Now I'm 63 years old, starting over, building a new life with my daughter. And for the first time in 23 years, I'm not dying. That's what survival looks like. Not dramatic rescues or last-minute escapes. Just waking up every morning in a house where no one's trying to kill you. Finding peace in small moments. Rebuilding trust one day at a time. Emma and I have a ritual now. Every morning, before breakfast, she hugs me and says, "Another good day, Daddy. Another good day." That's all we need. That's everything. So I'll leave you with this. If someone loves you enough to warn you, believe them. If a child tells you something that seems impossible, listen. And if you ever doubt whether you're worth saving, remember that somewhere, someone thinks you are. For me, it was a 7-year-old girl with brave eyes and a trembling voice. For you, it might be closer than you think. Thank you for listening to my story. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them. Sometimes the stories that save us are the ones that hurt most to tell. Stay safe out there. Hug your children, and never forget, the truth might come from the smallest voice in the room.